My Uber driver tried kidnapping me until he realized I was the serial killer he'd been hired to eliminate. Victor accepted the contract without asking questions. $50,000 to eliminate a target who'd been killing his employer's associates across 3 states. The photo showed a mild-mannered accountant named David Miller, someone who looked harmless enough to approach without suspicion. When I requested the ride to the abandoned warehouse district at midnight, Victor assumed I was just another late-night passenger heading to some sketchy business meeting. "Long night, friend?" he asked, while studying my face in the rearview mirror, confirming I matched the photo he'd memorized. I'd been hunting Victor's boss for months, following a trail of bodies that led back to his human trafficking operation. "Something like that," I replied, noting how his hands gripped the steering wheel too tightly, and his eyes kept checking the locks. This wasn't going to be a normal Uber ride. Victor's plan unfolded when he passed my destination and headed toward the industrial area where he'd prepared everything for a clean disposal. "Sorry, GPS is acting up," he lied, while child-locking the doors and reaching for the chloroform-soaked rag hidden under his seat. "Just need to make a quick stop first." His hand moved toward my neck with practiced precision, but I'd already spotted the plastic sheeting in his trunk and the shovel handle visible behind his seat. "Wrong move, Victor," I said calmly, while grabbing his wrist and applying pressure that made him scream. The car swerved as I controlled his hand, forcing him to pull into an empty parking lot where we could have a private conversation. "You're making a mistake," he gasped, while I twisted his arm behind the seat. "I'm just a driver trying to make money." The chloroform rag fell to the floor as Victor realized his victim knew exactly who he was and what he'd been planning. Victor's confidence crumbled when I pulled out photos of his previous victims, each one carefully documented during my investigation into his employer's network. "Maria Gonzalez, age 23, strangled in your car 3 months ago," I said while showing him crime scene photos. "Timothy Chen, age 31, poisoned with your special cocktail last month." His face went white as he recognized the evidence I'd been collecting, understanding that his passenger wasn't random prey but someone who'd been hunting him specifically. "You're that fucking psycho who's been killing Mr. Kozlov's people," Victor whispered with dawning horror. "The one who left those messages carved in their chests." I smiled while confirming his worst fears, explaining how I'd been systematically eliminating everyone in his trafficking ring while leaving signatures that would eventually lead law enforcement to their entire operation. "Your boss put a contract on me without realizing I already had one on him," I said, while Victor's hands shook on the steering wheel. The revelation destroyed Victor's remaining composure as he understood he'd just tried to kidnap the serial killer whose work had been terrorizing his entire organization. "Please, I was just following orders," he begged while fumbling for his phone to call for backup that would never arrive. "Mr. Kozlov made me do it. I never wanted to hurt anyone." His desperate explanations included details about the trafficking operation I'd been documenting, each confession providing more evidence for my final report to federal authorities. "I'll tell you everything about his business," Victor offered, while trying to unlock the doors I'd disabled. "Names, locations, bank accounts, whatever you want to know." The irony wasn't lost on either of us that the man hired to eliminate me was now begging for his life while providing information I'd already obtained through other sources. "You know what I do to people who hurt children, Victor," I said while reaching into my jacket. Victor's death was quick and professional, just another body in the trail leading back to his employer, who would soon discover that hiring assassins to eliminate serial killers rarely worked as planned. The authorities found him 3 days later with my signature carved into his chest, along with evidence of his trafficking activities and a detailed confession I'd helped him write. Kozlov received the message clearly. His entire network was being systematically dismantled by someone who couldn't be bought, threatened, or eliminated. The Uber driver who thought he was hunting prey had instead become bait in a larger operation that would end with every trafficker in his organization either dead or in federal custody.